I needed a large area heavy duty worktop for working with MDF and plywood, and I obviously, like most people, don't have space in my garage to have an 8x4 workbench permanently in place, so it needs to be something that you can stack up against the wall when you're done using it. I originally made a worktop that could be placed on top of collapsible metal legs, and the worktop was made of an 8x4 sheet of 5/8 thick MDF with holes drilled through for dowling pegs, and that was on top of a base of 3/4 inch plywood. So the problem was I now had an 8x4 workbench that was about 150, 160 pounds in weight, and without help you couldn't lift it onto the top of the legs or remove it from the legs and stack it up against the wall once I was finished. So I modified the design of the worktop and I attached some folding legs and then affixed the whole worktop with the attached legs to a cart that could be moved up against the wall when I wasn't using the workbench, and that would allow me to move the workbench easily into position in my garage when I wanted to use it. So I'll show you how I put this together. The cart base is made with 2 layers of 2x4s with heavy duty casters screwed with lag bolts to the bottom, and then the whole thing is topped with a sheet of 3/8 plywood. I decided to go with locking casters for 2 of the 4 casters. I then used lag bolts to fix 2 short lengths of angle iron to either end of the cart, and onto that I then bolted longer pieces of angle iron to create a triangle where the height of the top of the triangle plus the height of the cart was equal to the length of the folding legs. A piece of 3/8 plywood bolted across the width of the unit gives you the lateral stability. I then ran a threaded 5/16 steel bar across the distance between the top of the 2 triangular sections of angle iron to act as the fulcrum of what you will see is the folding table, and the bolts, or the nuts rather, are positioned like that on each end. I made 4 legs from 2 pieces of 2x4, again bolted together and countersunk. Rubber bottoms to give good grip on the garage floor, and I joined legs at each end with another section of 2x4 to give some lateral stability. And the legs are attached to the table via these 3-inch hinges. When the table's in the upright position, the legs are held in place with these 2 bolts on the underside that are attached to the bottoms of 2 of the legs. You'll also note that there is a piece of wooden dowling that is attached to the crossbar between 2 legs on each end. It's offset from center, so it's close to one of the legs, and that is in place on both legs on the same side at both ends. I'll show you what that's for in a second. And finally, I've attached a 15 amp surge protected power bar to the side of one of the 4 legs to give me a location to attach power tools so that I don't have cords trailing across the floor. So now I'm going to show you how easy it is to set the table up for use. And remember, this whole thing weighs well over 200 pounds. So first of all, I'll undo one of the bolts that hold the legs in place. table simply folds down and the legs drop into place. I'll lift the table end just so the legs can drop fully. I then undo the second bolt and the legs drop down on this end. Finally, there's a length of lumber that you may have seen on the top of the table, has a hole drilled in each end that fits a piece of doweling, and the doweling that I showed you attached to the two cross spars between the legs on either end. This just fits over the top, the holes drop in, and that now prevents the legs from folding or the table moving at all when you are working on it. So now we have an absolutely solid work table that is capable of holding 300 or 400 pounds of weight.